Tonight, breaking news as we come on. 7 counts of first-degree murder filed against the alleged shooter in that July 4th massacre. Top story, live in Highland Park. The death toll rising after a gunman using a high-powered rifle unleashed a barrage of bullets onto a July 4th parade in the Chicago suburb. Police releasing a new image showing the alleged shooter disguised in women's clothing as he fled. Police saying he planned the deadly rampage for weeks. Tonight, I speak to a father who saw the gunman as he was firing from above, and I sit down with a classmate of the alleged shooter. What she told me about the boy who allegedly grew up to be a killer, plus what we're learning about the victims, including the father of 8, and a survivor joins Top Story Live describing how she escaped the carnage with her family. Also, the new video of mass panic in Philadelphia after 2 police officers were shot during the city's fireworks show. The holiday weekend marred by gun violence, with dozens of people shot in cities like Chicago and New York. The mounting pressure on Washington to do more. Police shooting outrage, more protests in Akron, Ohio after the death of Jaylen Walker, who was shot more than 60 times by police as he fled from officers who say he shot at them. The emotional message tonight from Walker's family. Severe storm threat, more than 40 million Americans under alert for torrential rain, flooding, and wind gusts up to 90 miles per hour. Plus, the new details on the arrest of a Texas fugitive accused of murdering an elite cyclist. What we're learning about her weeks on the run, including how she managed to leave the U.S., change her appearance, and why yoga helped lead to her capture. And into the flames, the dramatic footage from a helmet cam showing the moment firefighters raced into a burning home. Top Story starts right now. Stand by, stand by. And good evening from Highland Park, Illinois, the latest city in America devastated by gun violence after a mass shooting at a July 4th parade. It happened just behind me just yesterday. And just moments ago, the 21-year-old suspect charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder. Police say Robert Crimo III fired dozens of rounds on the parade from a rooftop using a high-powered rifle. Drone footage showing that stretch of road now littered with lawn chairs and flags as investigators piece together the attack they say was planned for weeks. Police also releasing this new image of the alleged shooter in a disguise they say he wore as he fled the scene. And we're also learning more about his chilling post online and disturbing music videos depicting mass murder. Today, authorities releasing the ages and names of 6 of the 7 victims, including the mother killed as she tried to celebrate the holiday alongside her daughter. Vigils held throughout the day as the community grapples with this tragedy, just one of several in the U.S. throughout this holiday weekend. And tonight, the country once again asking, was this preventable, and will this ever end? Tonight, investigators revealing the terror and chaos caused by that mass shooting in a Chicago suburb was weeks in the making. The alleged gunman even devising an elaborate escape plan.
It was just chaos. Everybody was running.
The horror began shortly after 10 a.m. during Highland Park's 4th of July parade.
And when I ran back, there was the bodies on the ground. There was a little boy being carried away.
Authorities say the gunman disguised himself as a woman, climbing a fire escape ladder to the roof of a local business. He then took an AR-15 style rifle and fired down more than 70 rounds at innocent parade goers, including children. Listen to this video posted on social media. You can hear a pause as he apparently aims for different groups along the parade route. Police say 7 are now dead, at least 38 injured.
You can see the shooter on the rooftop. I can see flashes from the muzzle coming in our actual direction.
David Salick was watching the parade with his wife and 8-year-old son.
He said, we're in the dead zone.
He was firing in your direction?
Yes.
Salick says he threw his son and wife behind a steel park bench to get them out of the line of fire. Just steps from him, 2 people were shot. Today, realizing just inches separated his family from life or death.
I don't want to think about that.
As survivors were left in shock, authorities were tracking down the shooter. 8 hours later, they located a person of interest, identifying him as 21-year-old Robert Crimo III.
During the attack, Crimo was dressed in women's clothing, and investigators do believe he did this to conceal his facial tattoos and his identity and help him during the escape with the other people who were fleeing the chaos.
Police say he then walked to his mother's house and borrowed her car, driving to Wisconsin, then coming back to Illinois. A resident spotted him in that car and called 911. Police taking him down, the car towed to the police station today. A senior law enforcement official telling NBC News he purchased multiple weapons, including the high-powered rifle from the shooting, legally. He left that weapon at the scene. The ATF expedited a trace of it, connecting them to the suspect. The alleged shooter also appears to have a significant digital trail. NBC News has reviewed a YouTube page confirmed by law enforcement to be associated with Crimo. Performing as a rapper known as Awake, his recent music videos include tributes to mass murder. And tonight, police revealing 3 years ago, they responded to a threat at Crimo's home.
A family member reported that Crimo said he was going to kill everyone, and Crimo had a collection of knives. The police removed 16 knives, a dagger, and a sword from Crimo's home.
Those that grew up with him describe him as an outcast who was troubled.
He had been interested in rifles and weapons. And
Gracie Sklamberg went to school with the alleged shooter.
I could not see him doing that. I think that I have gone to school for 13 years with somebody that's capable of mass murder. It makes no sense to me.
And just moments ago, investigators announcing Crimo will be charged with 7 counts of first-degree murder, and more charges will be coming. Tomorrow morning, authorities will ask a Lake County judge to hold the alleged shooter without the possibility of bail. And today, we also learned the awful news that the death toll would grow from 6 to 7. We're also hearing the harrowing stories of survival and bravery as the horror unfolded. NBC Nightly News anchor Lester Holt reports.
They call it a suburb, but Highland Park really feels like a small town, now shaken to its core when those gunshots rang out.
When did you first realize something was wrong?
Well, the first thing that happened were there were sounds of firecrackers, and that caught our attention. And then the next thing we know, there were bullets coming at us.
I met Susie and Dean Zelensky.
It became very chaotic, pandemonium. My husband and our friend took off towards the back of the courtyard.
At that point, you became separated.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know we were separated, but yeah.
Susie scrambled under a bench.
Did you see people who were hit or who needed help?
There was a man who was face down, and he was white. He looked like he had no blood, and I was pretty sure he was deceased.
Then she says a man appeared with a 2-year-old child.
And he said, "Can you take my child, baby? Can you take her?" And I said, "Yes, sure, give her to me." And then I took her, and I put her in between me and the cement base of the bench.
He didn't know whether he'd see you again.
No. He said, I have to go find my wife. So he disappeared.
He then returned, saying his wife had been shot and needed to go to the hospital.
We exchanged phone numbers, and he said, "Would you mind please taking her home with you?" Which is what we did.
Can you imagine, you're a parent, can you imagine the process of having to give your child to a stranger under those circumstances?
He was so brave.
What a gut-wrenching call.
Yeah.
He went back into the thick of it, not knowing what's going on.
To help his wife.
Who was shot through the leg.
They would reunite with him later. They say his wife is doing okay tonight. I also met 89-year-old Arnie Kamen.
And all of a sudden we get this noise. It sounded like fireworks. Bang, 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 bang.
Who was sitting on the curb with his family in the line of fire. He'd been shot and is now recovering.
These things happen with great regularity in this country, as you know. Did you ever think it could visit Highland Park?
No, I did not think it would come to Highland Park.
But it did. And tonight, this close-knit community is reeling. 7 lives stolen, including Jackie Sunheim, remembered for her kindness and warmth, working as a preschool teacher at her synagogue. She had a husband and daughter. Nicholas Toledo was there with his son and nephew, watching the parade from his wheelchair when he was shot and killed. Stephen Strauss was 88. His niece posting on Facebook, "No one should die this way." And tonight, I met the family of Katie Goldstein.
I have been talking to people on the phone today, and I can't believe how many best friends Katie has. How many people have said she was my best friend?
Her husband Craig and their daughter Casey, heartbroken and overwhelmed with grief. Casey was at the parade, standing right next to her mom. She says when the shooting stopped, she rushed over, but her mom had already passed.
I looked up and I saw the shooter
shooting down at the kids. And I told her that it was a shooter and that she had to run. So I started running with her, and we were next to each other. And he shot her in the chest, and she fell down, and I knew she was dead. So I just told her that I loved her, but I couldn't stop because he was still shooting everyone next to me.
What's the memory that you want to share with us about your mom?
I want to share how she was before she died. She was waving to the floats. Every float that went by, she waved to them. And
she was having fun.
Yep. She was just a good mom. And I got 22 years with her. And I got to have 22 years with the best mom in the world.
The best mom in the world.
Honoring her mother tonight.
You just can't forget that. So Lester, we were just in Uvalde, Texas a little over a month ago, and we were fighting back the tears saying, you know, how could this happen in an elementary school? And now we're talking about a July 4th parade. And I know you know this area very well. You worked as a local anchor in the Chicago market for decades. And I have to ask you, a lot of people here, we heard this in your report, they said this kind of stuff doesn't happen in Highland, but what we're learning is that this happens everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about how safe this city is, and it is. I mean, you're right. I covered this area for 14 years, and Highland Park was always known as a safe place, good place to raise families, great schools, and even in many ways becoming more diverse. But what this tells us is that no, we have to always consider a potential threat, that remind ourselves that there are people living among us who are, you know, exposed to all kinds of information with the means to carry out, you know, whatever their beef is in life, and that's a constant threat we all face. I mean, it's interesting, you know, we stand here, you know, you drive another, you know, 40 minutes, and you're in some of the other areas that have made news in the Chicago area over the last several years of, you know, gun violence. It's happening in different ways, different, you know, communities, but, you know, a bullet doesn't ask why it's being fired.
Right. You know, Lester, we come out here, and when people ask us, why do you come here? Why do you bring nightly news here? Why do we bring Top Story here? It's to shine a light on these issues.
You bet.
And we don't want to ever think this is normal, but it's getting to a point now where we're traveling every month to some mass shooting that's happening. They're happening every week, and I wonder if anything's going to change. You know, I mean, it seems like every time we're here, we look back at the alleged shooter, and there were certain red flags that were missed. I guess the hope is that people will pick up the phone and call police at some point.
It's got to be an all-hands-on-deck response to this. People are dying, literally dying in the streets of America, you know, because of gun violence. And you know, the politicians and interest groups, of course, they'll, you know, discuss, you know, the different ways they want to handle that. But we all have to at least accept that reality that people are dying in the streets. This is a 10-alarm fire.
Yeah, and it should never be normal. Lester Holt, thanks so much for joining Top Story tonight. We do appreciate it. And coming up in our next half hour, more about the warning signs on Robert Cremillo's social media accounts and whether more could have been done to prevent this tragedy. Okay, unfortunately, the horror here was only one tragedy in a holiday weekend full of violence. Over a dozen mass shootings across multiple cities, the terrifying seeds uprooting July 4th celebrations. Here's NBC's Emily Aketa with the latest.
Panic in Philadelphia. July 4th celebrations taking a traumatizing turn when gunfire breaks out. A reporter from our NBC station in the middle of an interview.
Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
As a mad dash ensues. 2 police officers were shot and wounded, one narrowly escaping with his life after a bullet grazed his forehead, seen lodged into the side of his cap. All part of another holiday weekend marred by gun violence, with more than a dozen mass shootings across the country, many of them on July 4th, including in Richmond, Virginia. 72 people shot in Chicago alone. Back in Philadelphia, an exasperated mayor saying he can't wait to leave office.
I'm waiting for something bad to happen all the time, so I'll be happy when I'm not here, when I'm not mayor, and I can enjoy some stuff.
Though today, walking back his comments, he says were made out of frustration. Philadelphia set a record high for murders last year. A surge in crime reflected in many parts of the country, leaving Americans now on edge. Panicked crowds in Orlando. Police there say about a dozen were injured in the scramble for safety, some reportedly even jumping into a lake out of desperation.
I was freaking out. There's like thousands of people coming this way at me.
An all too familiar panic for too many. And just days ago, President Biden signed into law a bipartisan gun bill, though critics noting many of the cities where these shootings happened, including here in Pennsylvania, have some of the country's toughest gun restrictions. Meanwhile, the U.S. has now surpassed 300 mass shootings. And Tom, we're just halfway through the year. Back to you.
An incredible number. It's almost unbelievable. Emily Aketa for us tonight. We turn now to the state of emergency in the city of Akron, a mandatory curfew in place again tonight. It follows days of protest over a deadly police shooting during which authorities say 8 officers opened fire on one man. Here's NBC's Maggie Vespa.
Tonight, the city of Akron on edge again, with a mandatory curfew and state of emergency remaining in place, and businesses downtown still boarded up.
This isn't Akron. I mean, this isn't typically Akron.
This after days of protests, including a march to the mayor's house demanding justice for Jayland Walker and consequences for the 8 officers who authorities say are on paid leave per protocol while the state investigates.
We want to see more accountability for the actions that's been taken. We don't want to see paid leave from cops. We want to see unpaid termination.
By our count, there's about 100 people in this crowd. They say they came to the mayor's house peacefully, and they came as one big group because they want the mayor of Akron to see the impact this shooting is having on the entire city.
25-year-old Walker's final moments on June 27th captured on body camera video released over the weekend.
This video may be disturbing to some viewers, to many viewers.
The 7-minute clip beginning with a high-speed chase. Police saying officers tried pulling Walker over for an unspecified traffic violation. They say he drove off and minutes later fired at them.
21 shots fired. That vehicle just had a shot come out of its door.
Police say you can see the flash from the gun on a security camera. The video shows Walker later ran from his car wearing a ski mask. Investigators say officers fired tasers but missed. Moments later, that fatal hail of bullets from 8 officers. Authorities estimating 90 rounds left Walker with 60 wounds to his body. Investigators saying the officers said they thought Walker was turning toward them, reaching for a gun, adding they found a gun, not on him, but in his car, alongside what appears to be a wedding ring. The family revealing Walker had recently lost his fiancée. The attorney for Walker's family argues Walker was running away from police and not a threat to officers.
There was an attack on my client. That was an attack.
Friends stunned by Walker's fate. Walker's former wrestling teammate, Tyler Cox.
It's hard to really focus or breathe after seeing that, especially hearing that it's one of your close friends that just passed. Like, that's a lot. Enough is enough. We can only take so much. And to see that happen to so many people and close ones is too much.
Walker's family pleading for peace and answers.
Why? Why does it happen in such a manner? Such a terrible, terrible way. Just why?
Despite all the anger and pain here in Akron, the city remaining relatively calm overnight, and the mayor now saying that curfew will expire for good tomorrow morning, assuming, of course, that nothing flares up here tonight. At the same time, the independent investigation into this fatal shooting continues. No estimate at this point as to how long that will take. Tom.
Maggie Vespa tracking all those protests out of Akron. Maggie, we thank you. We want to head overseas now to Russia, where Brittney Griner has spent the last 4.5 months inside of a prison cell. The WNBA star sending a handwritten note pleading with President Biden to get her out. The White House revealing late today the president has read that letter. NBC's chief foreign affairs correspondent Andrea Mitchell has more.
In Brittney Griner's emotional handwritten letter from her Russian jail cell, the WNBA star center pleads with President Biden to bring her home, writing, "As I sit here in a Russian prison, alone with my thoughts and without the protection of my wife, family, friends, Olympic jersey, or any accomplishments, I'm terrified I might be here forever." Griner's wife, Sherelle, reacting to Brittney's fear.
It breaks my heart when I hear her say that, because BG is probably the strongest person that I know, so she doesn't say words like that lightly.
The 2-time Olympic gold medalist has been jailed for 4.5 months after Russian authorities say they found vape cartridges with cannabis oil in her luggage. She faces a 10-year sentence if convicted of drug smuggling, and 99% of those tried in Russian courts are convicted. Griner appealing to President Biden, writing, "Please don't forget about me and the other American detainees. Please do all you can to bring us home." The White House says the president read her letter and it's top of mind. He takes this to heart. Griner's wife says she's disheartened she hasn't heard from the president. Russian state media says the Kremlin wants Viktor Bout, a Russian arms dealer, jailed in the U.S. Would you recommend that the president come up with a trade?
Compared to what, 10 more years of Viktor Bout in jail versus those 3 Americans staying in jail for a decade, I would take that trade.
Griner's trial resumes Thursday. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, Washington.
More international politics now. The British government of Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been rocked by the resignation of 2 of his most senior cabinet ministers, and it may spell the end of Johnson's time at 10 Downing Street. Keir Simmons joins us live tonight from London. And Keir, I guess the big question is, will Johnson survive this?
Well, you know, Tom, the headlines have been salacious, as they can be in British politics. The allegations against a member of Boris Johnson's government that he got, frankly, blind drunk at a leather-chaired upscale members club in London and then is accused of sexual impropriety. The problem is that it then unfolded that there were previous allegations prior to Boris Johnson appointing him to a post in the government. And what this comes down to is a question of whether Boris Johnson is honest, whether he is truthful, whether he has integrity. And integrity is the word that one of those 2 ministers, the most senior ministers, used in their resignation letters. One of them, Tom, is the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the guy who runs the British economy. So it is a big deal for those resignations to take place, and even bigger that the numbers of resignations now here are in double figures, Tom.
Keir, in the last few days, how much has Boris Johnson's story changed about what he knew and when he knew it?
Oh, yeah, it has changed, and it has changed, and it has changed. And as I mentioned, because this is about whether he is truthful or not, there are comparisons to previous scandals where, again, his story seems to have changed. There are comparisons tonight, Tom, to the resignation of Margaret Thatcher when one of her closest senior political cabinet members resigned. That brought her down. The question is that what will happen to Boris Johnson, this British Prime Minister who has seemed to defy political gravity, who has not run his office by the rules, both behind the scenes and in terms of the way that he has operated politically. And Tom, you know, just finally, that does have implications, for example, for President Biden, because remember that there is a crisis in Europe with Ukraine that President Biden is trying to address. Now you have President Macron in France with his politics paralyzed because of a parliamentary election there. And then you have the Chancellor of Germany, Chancellor Scholz, the soft-spoken Chancellor who hasn't really seemed to find his feet yet. So if Boris Johnson falls, and many, many people tonight think that he will, then that leaves President Biden with another political leader who was with him on Ukraine, no longer there.
Keir Simmons with a lot of new reporting for us tonight. Keir, it's great to have you on Top Story, as always. We want to stay in Europe now. Massive flight cancellations are leaving American travelers stranded, and European labor strikes and one major airline's bankruptcy very close. While back here in the U.S., airlines are reporting far fewer cancellations and delays compared to recent days. Here's Tom Costello.
Across Europe, striking airline and airport workers demanding better pay are bringing air travel to a crawl. In France, Belgium, Germany, the Netherlands. At London's Heathrow Airport, packed terminals with lines that seem to wind forever. Hours-long delays and few customer service reps.
Still got, I should think, another hour or a couple of hours to go. And we've been told that there's no flights.
Just like the U.S., summer passenger volumes are surging in Europe. But airports and airlines are short-staffed, and a double whammy for anyone flying SAS. Filing for bankruptcy and facing a pilot strike, the airline canceled nearly 80% of its flights today, stranding many travelers, including NBC producer Tracy Snyder in Estonia.
Oh, it's so frustrating. Last day of vacation, we had to spend an hour and a half on the phone
with SAS customer service. We never got through.
Opting to buy a return ticket home on a different airline. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., the July 4th weekend brought relief. Far fewer cancellations than Memorial Day or Father's Day weekends. Still, 1 out of every 5 flights delayed. Tonight, summer storms remain the big variable.
So we may have to slow down the amount of traffic coming into those airports and coming out of it.
Tonight, volatile weather is targeting the East Coast from D.C. up to New York. Several tornado warnings on the ground and about 515 flights canceled. Tom?
All right, Tom Costello for us tonight. Tom, we appreciate it. As Tom mentioned, that travel chaos set to escalate with millions at risk as severe storms move east. Torrential downpours, damaging wind gusts and large hail all in the forecast, with possible flight cancellations looming at some of the nation's busiest airports. For more on the track, I want to bring in NBC meteorologist Michelle Grossman. Michelle, what are we watching tonight?
Hi there, Tom. Yeah, we're seeing that severe weather not only tonight, but tomorrow, also Thursday. So taking a look at radar, you can see exactly where these storms are. Radar is lit up. We continue to watch dangerous storms. Also dangerous heat over the next few days. Lots of lightning here through the southwest, the Rockies, the northern plains, the southeast, the mid-Atlantic, also parts of the northeast. We're watching a derecho move through the northern plains where we saw a wind gust of 96 miles per hour in South Dakota. This is what will happen tonight. That severe threat continues. 25 million people at risk for those winds gusting to 90 miles per hour. That's unbelievable. Large hail of 1.5 inches, and that's really large hail. That could cause damage on its own. A tornado or two is possible. We watch tornadoes in parts of Maryland, Bowie, Maryland, tonight. As we go throughout tomorrow, we're going to look at really heavy rain. We're also looking at 30 million people impacted in the same areas from Montana all the way to Georgia. So Raleigh, Charlotte, Knoxville, Cincinnati, you are under the gun also for winds gusting over 60 miles per hour and also some damaging hail. So this is a setup here. We have a stationary front. It's moving very slowly. It's kind of parked across the area. So even by Thursday, we're still seeing storms. We're still seeing the potential for delays on the roads and also in the air. Slow travel likely on the roads and in the air. And we're going to see storms from Georgia and Maryland. We're looking at torrential downpours because we have such humidity, high humidity in place, consecutive days of heavy rainfall. Where you see the darker colors, that's where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall. And Tom, will end it here. 44 million people impacted by heat alerts. We could feel up to 115 in some spots tomorrow.
115. Okay, Michelle for us tonight. Michelle, we appreciate it. Still ahead, the woman accused of killing an elite cyclist back in the U.S., how she managed to travel to Costa Rica while she was wanted for murder, and why a yoga class may have helped authorities track her down. Plus, the surveillance video showing an inmate climbing out of an Ohio jail using a rope tied from bed sheets. The warning tonight from police. And the dramatic helmet cam footage showing the moment firefighters raced into a home engulfed in flames. Stay with us. Top story back now with a story that we have been following for weeks. There are new details on the arrest of the Texas yoga teacher accused of killing an elite cyclist. Now, police tracking her down to a remote beach town in Costa Rica right after she changed her appearance and escaped to the Central American country using someone else's passport. Stephanie Goss now with more.
During her time in Costa Rica, local authorities say Armstrong stayed at a hostel, Don John's Lodge in Santa Teresa, a place to surf and do yoga just a short walk to the beach. Armstrong had been taking yoga classes nearby, which U.S. Marshals say helped the authorities track her down.
In all, this defendant's flight was clumsy at best. You have to give up your old life, and that means not bringing your yoga practice with you when you run to Costa Rica to hide from authorities.
Armstrong is accused of murdering professional cyclist Anna Mariah Wilson in Austin, Texas. Police say they believe she was in a jealous rage after Wilson spent time with Armstrong's boyfriend, Colin Strickland. The timeline for this tragedy, according to U.S. Marshals and Austin PD, unfolding over the last 2 months. On May 11th, officers responded to a call and found Wilson with multiple gunshot wounds on her friend's bathroom floor. She was pronounced dead at the scene. The next day, officers questioned both Colin Strickland and Caitlin Armstrong, later releasing Armstrong. On May 13th, Armstrong sold her black Jeep Grand Cherokee for $12,200, and the following day left the Austin airport on a flight to New York City. A warrant was issued for her arrest, and on May 18th, Armstrong was caught on camera boarding a flight from Newark, New Jersey, bound for Costa Rica, using what police say was someone else's passport. About a month and a half later, authorities arrested Armstrong at the hostel in Santa Teresa Beach, Costa Rica. On Saturday, she landed back in Texas to face murder charges. When authorities found Armstrong, they say she had altered her appearance by cutting and dyeing her hair brown in an apparent attempt to make herself less recognizable.
The next step for Armstrong is to be brought before a federal judge here in the United States who will determine the scheduling going forward and any modification to bail or bond that her defense attorneys may want to ask for.
That first court appearance expected to occur any day now.
Armstrong has not entered a plea yet. She faces first-degree murder charges and unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. According to the U.S. Marshals, she was looking to stay in Costa Rica. The yoga instructor, they say, was getting ready to, in their words, establish the next part of her career. Back to you.
All right, when we come back, the latest from the July 4th massacre here in Highland Park. The alleged gunman's chilling social media videos. Were there warning signs that he was capable of this kind of attack? Stay with us. All right, back now with Top Stories newsfeed, and we begin with the search for an escaped inmate in Ohio. Surveillance video shows Patrick Thomas throwing a chair through a third-story window of the minimum security jail in Cincinnati. He then manages to climb down using bed sheets he tied together. Officials say he should be considered dangerous. He's the fourth inmate to escape custody in that county in the last 3 weeks. Next to the raging house fire caught on camera in California. Take a look at this. A firefighter's helmet cam capturing the moment crews raced into a burning home near Sacramento. Thick smoke and fierce flames overtaking that house. The home was completely destroyed, but officials say firefighters managed to evacuate residents and save other houses nearby. So far, no injuries have been reported. And the former president of Team USA softball accused of sex crimes with a child. Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says John Gueva was arrested in April and charged with 8 felony counts of sex abuse of a child under 14 years of age. Gueva worked for USA Softball from 1991 all the way to 2019, but authorities say the alleged victim was not associated with the organization. And R. Kelly has been removed from suicide watch following a lawsuit. Attorneys for the disgraced R&B singer sued the Brooklyn federal jail, saying he was put on suicide watch as punishment for his celebrity status. Federal prosecutors initially argued it was for Kelly's own safety after he was sentenced to 30 years in prison for sex trafficking. All right, we want to turn back now to the shocking mass shooting here in Highland Park, Illinois, that has left 7 dead and dozens injured. Authorities and former classmates saying the suspected shooter's past was littered with warnings, including his postings on social media. Dasha Burns has more.
Tonight, we're learning more about the man held in police custody for Monday's mass shooting. 21-year-old Bobby Cremo III appears to have left a trail of violent social media posts. Before the 4th of July shooting that left 7 dead and more than 30 injured, he performed as a rapper, sharing disturbing music videos depicting mass murder. One of his recent videos shows him holding an American flag in a staged classroom with what appears to be shell casings on the floor. We're blurring the screenshots of the video to not give him further notoriety. Authorities say they were called in September 2019 by a family member because of alleged threats that he was going to, quote, kill everyone.
Would this potentially have been enough for you to confiscate weapons or take some sort of action?
So in the case of September, the knives that Cremo possessed, they were confiscated and they were secured for safekeeping.
It's rifles and considering the social media posts and the videos that we have now seen.
So at that time, there was no information that he possessed any firearms, any rifles. Would that be enough if he's making threats? It's a case-by-case basis.
Another video shows a cartoon wearing a shirt with his YouTube channel's logo on it, holding a long gun and being shot by police. In a tweet posted last year, Cremo can be seen draped in a Trump flag with the caption, "Spam." He's also apparently seen in a video that appears to show a Trump motorcade leaving an airport. His Twitter account has been suspended and the YouTube channel is unavailable.
We are reviewing those. Those are going to be a part of any investigation efforts by our task force investigators, Highland Park Police. We'll look at them and we'll see what they reveal.
Griner had his own Discord server where his community could chat about memes and politics. The most recent post before the shooting was a picture of Bud Dwyer, the Pennsylvania state treasurer who shot and killed himself on live television in the 1980s, along with the caption, "I wished politicians still gave speeches like this." But is this behavior enough to sound the alarm legally?
It's possible that enough violent imagery, coupled with statements of intent to do harm, could rise to the clear and convincing level an Illinois court needs in order to issue a restraining order.
As investigators learn more about Griner from his online presence, they have yet to determine a motive.
Investigators are very much furthering the investigation. They have been in discussions with him. I don't have anything to say about motivation thus far because it hasn't been provided.
This isn't the first time authorities examined disturbing social media posts in the wake of a mass shooting. The Parkland shooter posed with a gun, showing his, quote, arsenal. The alleged killer in Uvalde posted a photo of 2 AR-style semi-automatic rifles.
Would you recommend that community members in this community or others flag police to that kind of information? You said you weren't aware of it beforehand. If you were aware of it, could this have prevented something like this, considering the red flag laws and other laws here in the state?
Absolutely. If the public sees something that is concerning online with anybody, they should notify the social media network it's posted on. They should notify local law enforcement. And that's when we get involved and we conduct an investigation. Law enforcement's going to do everything they possibly can to ensure the community is kept safe. But if we don't know about it, it's hard for us to investigate.
Okay, Dasha Burns joins us now live here in Highland Park. So, Dasha, I want you to walk our viewers through this. Yeah. Illinois has a red flag law. Police were called to the suspect's home years ago. They confiscated his knife collection because they were afraid. There was also fears that he'd commit suicide. So how does that young man then buy an AR-15 legally?
I think this goes to show just how difficult it is to prevent something like this with the current laws and the current systems that are in place, because there are multiple agencies at play here, right? You've got local police, you've got state police, you've got federal laws as well. And red flag laws here in the state, they're still new. They went into effect in 2019. And so this is something that the state's attorney's office today was talking about, that people need to be more aware of these red flag laws. Police didn't know about these videos. They hadn't been flagged to these social media posts, as they said there. Perhaps if they were, if community members did reach out, this could have been prevented. But these laws are still complicated and murky, and not all agencies are always in coordination here yet.
Then that's where we're going next in this show right now. But Dasha, thank you so much for that report. We do appreciate it. For more on the suspect's online persona and the communities he was a part of, I want to bring in NBC senior reporter Ben Collins, who covers extremism and the internet and who's been poring over the alleged gunman's profiles on social media. So, Ben, the reason why I wanted to have you on is I flew over here to Chicago. I was logging on to NBCNews.com, and I saw you had a story up very, very quickly. You were able to get this guy's name, search his background, put together a print report for us at NBCNews.com, which was pretty comprehensive, and you did this rather quickly. I know you don't work for the FBI, but my question is, why didn't the FBI, why didn't local police see these videos, or why weren't they able to put this together as quickly as you were?
Well, this is a very good question for why people in his life didn't, at the very least. He had made a music video where he is literally dropping bullets in a set of a school. You know, there's that picture right there, and it simulates a mass shooting in a school. And look, if somebody else had to shoot that with a camera, right? It's shocking to me that nobody saw this. It had 50,000 views on YouTube before. People started bombarding that page. He was a known entity in this space. He's part of an aesthetic that I would say glorifies or idolizes mass shooters all throughout the internet. It's not a space that's heavily viewed or regulated, though. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, right, but I do want to ask you about that sort of subculture, because once you see the video, there's no mistaking this, right? There's nothing artistic about this video. It's not like, oh, this could be a Hollywood film and maybe they're glorifying violence, but it's artistic. I mean, it's clear what this person was trying to do. At what point in the video there's even an active shooter sequence? And so my question to you is, in that subculture, obviously, are police there, are undercover federal agents there, sort of looking at this community to make sure that people who are out there, I would say in the public, even though it's sort of, you know, on the internet and these corners that maybe not everyone goes to, but are police and law enforcement out there just sort of scouring these websites to make sure that the next Columbine, the next Uvalde, the next Highland Park doesn't happen?
It's really difficult to know because these are really niche forums. So, for example, like the Proud Boys or Patriot Front, they meet in the same places, on the same platforms, they share information, they go to the same places, they show up in physical space wearing the same outfits, right? The feds have figured this out over the last 3 or 4 years. They figure out how to infiltrate those groups and get into them, right? It's very difficult with this. All of this is happening quite literally in somebody's basement or somebody's parents' house or something. These are disconnected people physically in space. They are loners in their local communities, but they come together on the internet to build these relatively niche and small communities. But there are communities of 70 people here and 1,000 people there. It's really difficult. Some of them are just committed to, you know, posting grisly depictions of death on the internet, which is not, by the way, or aggregating them, which is not against the law. So it's a very difficult law enforcement task to try to pick out the actual person who's going to commit a shooting from somebody who is just interested or deeply into grisly and horrible stuff.
Right, or just being a clown. Ben, final question. When you search these forums and you're doing the reporting for us at NBC News, do you ever see sort of exchanges like, look, this is too crazy, or this is sick, or somebody should notify police, or does that kind of language, those kind of conversations not really happen in these dark corners of the internet?
Sometimes people do. They're immediately shouted down by those other people, but they say they're going to send something to the FBI or they're going to call on a tip. The issue is these people know how to talk around the FBI. They know the lines. They know not to give a specific threat beforehand, and people will show up as with what happened with him, where he had his knives and sword taken away a couple of years ago. They just tell the police they're just trolling, and they say they're protected by the First Amendment. And then the feds leave, and then something happens. This happened in Buffalo. This happened in New Mexico a couple of years ago. This is something that keeps happening because there is a gap in the law that they intentionally exploit.
Ben Collins, a senior reporter for NBCNews.com, who's done a lot of incredible reporting for us since he's come over here to this network. All right, Ben, we appreciate it. Now to top stories, global watch and violence breaking out during a pride march in Turkey. Plainclothes officers in the Turkish capital of Ankara dragging demonstrators on the ground and pepper spraying others in the face. Organizers say at least 30 people were detained. The government has cracked down on pride events in recent years. We're also following stories out of Australia, where another round of devastating flooding has hit that country. New video shows homes and roads near Sydney submerged in water. Emergency workers even seen rescuing farm animals from the floodwaters. Some areas have received more than a year's worth of rain in just 3 days. Authorities have ordered more than 50,000 people to evacuate. And the dramatic rescue on the high seas off the coast of Argentina. New video shows Argentinian authorities rescuing this man after he suffered a stroke on board a fishing boat. The 55-year-old lifted from the ship in a rescue basket, then rushed to the hospital. It happened in the Atlantic Ocean, about 155 miles from shore. No word yet on that man's condition. Now to the glacial avalanche in Italy that's killed at least 7 hikers over the weekend. Italian officials saying today they are still searching for people missing beneath the snow, rocks, and ice. Stephen Romo has more.
Tonight, search and rescue resumes on the ground and in the air in Canazei, Italy. Days after a large chunk of glacier came roaring down a mountainside in the Alpine resort town.
Cosa abbiamo visto? Abbiamo visto un disastro.
Ice, snow, and rock crashing around hikers on a popular trail. At least 7 people have died and 9 are left injured in the Marmolada avalanche. Italian officials announcing this afternoon that 5 people are still missing, down from 17 over the weekend.
È un numero che va riducendosi, pur essendo sempre un numero molto tragico.
The best chance of getting someone out of an avalanche alive is when their partner can locate them and dig them out within the next few minutes. If you have to go for help, it's probably too late.
The cause of the glacier cascading down is still unknown, but the Italian Prime Minister Mario Draghi speaking out on Monday.
Oggi l'Italia piange queste vittime.
Blaming this tragedy on climate change.
Ma certamente dipende dal deterioramento dell'ambiente e della situazione climatica.
According to the Italian Council for National Research, the Marmolada Glacier has lost 30% of its volume between 2004 and 2015, adding that the glacier might practically disappear in the next 30 years.
We see this same phenomenon in the Himalayas. We've had huge avalanches on Mount Everest a few years ago, for example, and they are all primarily due to climate change.
The disaster striking just one day after a record high temperature of 50 degrees Fahrenheit at the glacier's summit. Families of those still missing expressing anger that their loved ones were allowed on the trail in the first place.
Quindi io dico, l'autorità predisposta a fermare le persone, visto il clima che c'era, visto I giorni precedenti, dov'è? Esiste un'autorità?
All right, Stephen Romo joins us now from New York. Stephen, we heard the Italian Prime Minister blaming climate change for the disaster. What more do we know about the conditions leading up to this?
Tom, Italy is in the middle of a summer heat wave, and northern Italy is seeing one of the worst droughts in 70 years. Experts say there was unusually little snowfall during the winter, which exposed those glaciers to even more heat. All those things adding to that struggle to find those hikers. Tom?
All right, Stephen Romo for us tonight. Stephen, thank you. Coming up, Medal of Honor. The Vietnam veterans getting the military's highest honor today. Their incredible stories of bravery and the powerful ceremony decades in the making. And we are back now with an emotional ceremony at the White House. Today, President Biden awarded the Medal of Honor to 4 Vietnam veterans for their heroism in combat. NBC's Courtney Kuby has their stories.
It was a recognition 5 decades in the making. The military's highest honor bestowed on 4 Vietnam veterans for their acts of incredible heroism.
They stood in the way of danger, risked everything, literally everything, to defend our nation and our values.
When Specialist 5 Dwight Birdwell's unit came under fierce attack, he manned a tank machine gun until his helmet was shot off his head. He ran through heavy gunfire to gather weapons and ammunition to stop the attack. Wounded, Birdwell tended to the injured before seeking help himself. He is the first Native American to ever receive the Medal of Honor from Vietnam.
Through this award, I bring respect and dignity to the Cherokee people. And I'm very proud of being Cherokee, and I hope the Cherokees are proud of me.
Pinned down by gunfire, Staff Sergeant Edward Keneshiro jumped into an enemy trench alone. He was later killed in action. Today, his son John, himself an Army veteran, accepting the medal for the father he never knew. Army Specialist 5 Dennis Fuji was rescuing troops when his medevac helicopter came under fire and crashed. Despite his own injuries, he spent 2 days treating and protecting the wounded. When John Duffy's base was surrounded, he called in dozens of airstrikes, repeatedly putting himself in danger. The bullets came so close, his radio was shot off his back.
We wanted to defeat them and kill them, and they wanted to do the same for us. It was what we call war. And that's all I did was literally went to work, did my job, made the best decisions.
After that battle, Duffy turned to poetry and was even nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. 4 soldiers, 4 different battles, now forever linked by their determination to save their brothers in arms, no matter the danger. Courtney Kuby, NBC News, the Pentagon.
We thank Courtney for that story. And coming up here in Highland Park, another community in agony tonight, grappling with the sense of safety being shattered. Stay with us. Finally tonight, from here in Highland Park, this community now reeling from this tragedy, joining the list of a growing number across the country impacted by the horror of mass shootings, searching for a way to move forward.
It just brings everything that I've been watching in the news so much closer, of course, when it's your main street. It's just incredibly distressing to be living in it, and I just want to do something that I can, if there's a way, to try to make a point about guns in our society. I mean, and it's just very strange to look at everything that's happening here, and this is my home.
You see all these things on TV, people, how they should respond, until you've been in that hail of bullet fire and you don't know where it's coming from. Yeah. And it's just unreal what people expect you to do in that situation, what you really have to do in that situation.
Just the randomness. So far we don't know that there was any particular purpose except to make some sort of statement again, it's just too many times that something like this does happen. And for me, again, it just became so personal because it was all so in my immediate area.
Well, it's unbelievable and believable that we're doing this here. It was expected by me at some point, unfortunately, and it's just disgusting that we have. I can understand why there's a debate over reducing carnage against preserving a hobby or delusion that this is needed. It's insane. It's insane.
Mentally exhausted, mentally shooken, anxious, scared, fearful, and enraged. This community will move forward, and we will take our rage, and we will vote, and we will march, and do what we have to protect these. This will be running through our heads forever, because it's a nightmare that is stuck in our heads forever.
That emotion still so raw, and this community losing not just lives in this tragedy, but shattering that sense of security of just walking down Main Street. We'll continue our reporting from Highland Park tomorrow night. I'll see you right back here. I'm Tom Llamas. Thanks so much for watching Top Story tonight. Stay right there. More news on the way.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.